Welcome back, y'all. It's been a while since we've done an update down here. We are volunteers for the Brevard County Zoo and the Restore Our Shores Foundation. We have clams growing off our dock right here. We used to have oysters. We might get oysters again. We're on the waiting list. But we used to have oysters and clams. Now we have just the clams. But we have clams planted right off our dock here. They've been here for a long time now.
Probably, I think 6 years.
Yeah. In fact,
5
one
years.
year, didn't they plant like all the...
Yeah, apparently because we're so close to the inlet, up north of here, they didn't do as well. So everyone in Brevard County who grew the clams, it was like mixed reviews up. As it got more north, they didn't do as well. But they put all of them here because our water was the best because it had the most salinity from the ocean water coming in.
The team showed up, the team from the Restore Our Shores Foundation showed up the other day to, I guess, do a count on the clams,
yeah,
and do a well-being
of the baby ones that were
checkup.
Every year they grow little baby ones to grow to full size, and then once they're full size, they take them out of the nets and just plant them right in the sand.
So you can see these square patches down here. Each one is a bag. It's a bag, right? Or is it a net?
Yes, it's a bag. It's a netted bag that they sew shut with these zip ties. And when they start out as brand new little babies, they're in a finer mesh bag. And then as they get older, they change out the bags into ones with bigger holes so that they can filter more of the algae and stuff out of the water. And
so what were they doing the other day when you came down?
They were counting them and figuring out the death toll.
Okay.
And they did. We have 10 bags. I think they opened 3 of them and did a random sampling. They measured them and weighed them, and then we took out of the sample, we counted the ones that were living versus dead, and then the ones that were living we measured, and then I guess
they put them back.
And then they put them back in the bag, sealed them back up, and because over time, because clams burrow, they burrow in the floor of the river, so over time they push sand and they become sedimented. So when they came the other day, they had to really pull them up because there was sand there.
The bags, you mean?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's good. They were saying that it's good for them to become sedimented because there's less things that will eat them. When they're in the bags and they're exposed, then the crown conchs and the crabs and everything see them and eat them. So
it's a little wavy today, but I bet if the water was flat, we probably could see a predator in there.
Yeah. But I have a little sample bag that we made last time they came. So.
All right, she's working hard for this video, y'all. Everybody give Annalisa some props.
It's kind of mucky right here.
It is a little mucky, yeah. Should have tied him closer to the shore.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't. I should have put him on this
I'm just
pole.
joking.
So you can see, I put these out here yesterday and there was no sand inside the bag. So this just shows you they want to be in sand because they pulled it in from the ground. They want to be in the ground. So they were just loose clams yesterday. And they pulled all that.
Can you rinse
sand.
1 or 2 of them off so we can get a good look at them? Oh, they're real pretty.
I wish.
Cool. So what is your plan for these in the bag? You were going to bring them to the...
Well, I wanted to bring them to the Barrier Island Sanctuary, which is another, place that would have the permitting to be able to have these, because they have a seagrass tank there that has all the different kinds of seagrass, and the tank is hard to clean.
So you might want to soak that zipper.
So I thought it might be kind of cool to put these in there and see if it made it cleaner in the tank, so they didn't have to clean it as much. And then also, since we've had all these clams, we didn't have any seagrass growing on the riverbed when we moved in, 0. Because they were coming and mapping it and they were snorkeling around and looking for it. But since we've had the clams, we have a huge thing of seagrass on this side and we have more forming over here.
It's tough to pick up right now. You can see it though.
Well, it's not as thick as it was at the end of last year.
Yeah.
But I think it's just died back from the cold,
Yeah.
and will get thicker as. But anyways, it's definitely there's definitely the seagrass we never planted. It started growing either because there's more clarity in the water from the clams and that there's more light shining down to the bottom, which allowed the seagrass to grow, or like, you know, like the clams are like rocks inside the sand that will hold the roots down. So I think there's a lot of benefits for the two together. So I thought
they're like a keystone species almost.
Yeah, or like the perfect symbiotic relationship.
Right.
So I thought that it would be cool at the Barrier Island Sanctuary to have like the clams in there with the seagrass to show how like the two are kind of work hand in hand with each other.
The clams are such good like super filterers. I wonder if there'd be enough for them to eat in those tanks.
Yeah, that's what they were worried about.
Like
so like we have them waiting here because they're not sure how to like do it responsibly.
Right.
So we're just gonna keep them in here because this is kind of cool too. They're not gonna get hurt. Like this is just like a nice, like we can check on them and see how big they are easily compared to these big giant bags. So it is kind of like a indicator on how big those are growing.
So speaking of the Barrier Island Center, Annalisa and Reese and Raymond are volunteers there. If you go there any Sunday afternoon, they're usually there cleaning the tanks and stuff. But because of that,
take care of the animals.
Yes, but because of that, because they're volunteers, we got to do a tour of a clam hatchery. It was a clam and a oyster hatchery.
Yep.
And it was real interesting. Unfortunately, Annalisa, our youngest one, wasn't feeling good that day, so she was there, but she missed a lot of the tour. But it was a super cool setup the guy had. They basically, the whole setup, from what I could tell, the whole setup was basically growing algae, because clams and oysters are such like super filter feeders. They have to feed them a lot, so they would take algae, they take samples of water from the river, and then, you know, using a microscope and stuff, they would be able to separate out certain algae that they wanted to grow there to feed the oysters and clams. And they literally are different colors. So the whole operation was awesome. From the beginning, he had little test tubes that were all different colors, and then they would grow the algae and put them in bigger tanks and bigger tanks until we got to this one point where he had these massive, like 500-gallon tanks that were like all different colors, filled with algae, different algae.
He was not. I mean, like the clams and the oysters were a small part of his operation.
It seemed like it to me.
The larger part was creating the food for them to eat.
That's what it seemed like to me. Because it was funny, we did a tour, it was like an hour long, and we saw the oysters and clams like for like 5 minutes. It was like the whole thing was growing the algae, but it was such a cool operation he had. I think he said that him and his partner are the only two ones they don't have any other help. Yeah, no, but they don't have any other help at that facility. He did mention that a lot of clam and oyster hatcheries have closed, especially on the East Coast. I mean, he's one of the last ones here on the East Coast of Florida, but it was such a cool operation. It was such a cool opportunity we had to go see that because they volunteer at the...
And when clams and oysters are babies, they're like microscopic.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And that's why it's so
he was
difficult.
he would pull out a tray that looked like it had sand in it, and he was like, there's 2 million oysters in here. It was crazy. It was really cool.
These, if we put those in the tank at the communities at the Barrier Island Center, they are not going to be able to procreate in that tank because the filtration that's on that tank is just a normal filter, and it'll pull up any babies and kill them.
Yeah.
And so when you grow baby oysters and clams, they have to have like a special filtration that's like small enough to not collect because they're microscopic.
Yeah.
So.
All right, y'all. Well, it's been a while since we've done an update down here, but the team came the other day, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do that. If you have any questions or comments about our clams that we have growing here, or the programs that we're part of, just post down below. Until next time, take care.